if you're in frustration, if you're in guilt, if you're in sacrifice, if you're in depression, if you're in anxiety, all of those things, these are all real things that you go through. If you understand, real things that you go through. If you're not in that flow, in that joy, in that grace, then it is always because we are in resistance. All right, so let's close our eyes. Let's take a big deep breath. Dear Mother, Father, God, divine source, universe, all that is, we come together today with open hearts, open minds, and an open spirit. We allow today to be a time of love and support and guidance. And we ask that any healing that needs to be taking place, physically, spiritually, or emotionally, take place today. And we ask that we are open to hearing any messages that come through in our communication today. And take a big deep breath. And together we say thank you very much. And so it is. Amen. Amen. Okay. If you have your Course in Miracles, it is on page, in most Course in Miracles, we're on page 388, which is the I Need Do Nothing section, which I love. Right? So when we were talking this morning, we were talking about I Need Do Nothing. And that led me to read this other part, which I'm going to read right now. That's really nice. That's great. I love it. Thank you. So I'm going to read this part, and let's just, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to feel this. I want you to get this. Okay, so just close your eyes while I read this part. Come to this place of refuge where you can be yourself in peace, not through destruction, not through breaking out, but merely by a quiet melting in. For peace will join you there, simply because you have been willing to let go the limits you have placed upon love, and joined it where it is and where it led you, in answer to its gentle call to be at peace. Deep breath. So, I want to talk about this idea. Come to this place of refuge where you can be yourself in peace, where you can be yourself in peace. Not through destruction, not through breaking out, but merely by a quiet melting in. This is really important. This does go with the I Need Do Nothing. Because what the Course in Miracles, what Jesus is teaching us in the Course in Miracles, is this idea and this truth that the more you work, the more you strive, the more you try, the further you get from the experience of your peace. Say yes if you understand. Because when we are in anything other than peace, I'm talking about, anything in peace, kindness, love, joy, flow, anything other than that. If you're in frustration, if you're in guilt, if you're in sacrifice, if you're in depression, if you're in anxiety, all of those things, these are all real things that you go through. If you understand, real things that you go through. If you're not in that flow, in that joy, in that grace, then it is always because we are in resistance. We are in resistance. And that resistance is a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy because you create what you defend against. Everything starts to make sense once you start to know these principles of A Course in Miracles and you start to apply them to your life. So you create what you defend against. So what you're trying to do, instead of melting into what's right here, right now, you're trying to find it somewhere else. You're trying to get it somewhere else. And it's not you, it's your egoic mind. The egoic mind is never happy. Ever. 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 Hello, Vince. Good to see you. The egoic mind is never happy. Remember. And I'll tell you a story about the egoic mind. Yesterday, I told you I have my Wednesday group we usually do it at 1 o'clock, but I knew that the inauguration was going to be happening and everything. So I said, can we push it till 4 o'clock? And I had been watching it all morning, and it was just, it was emotional and it was beautiful and it was all these different things. And so when it came 4 o'clock, I was like, I don't really want to do this. And my ego was like, oh. And then there was kind of a weird thing with the, what's the parade? And there's going to be people at the parade, but they're not at the parade. And is it the concert? Is it not all this other stuff. So it looked like at 4 o'clock, when I was supposed to be with my group, my ego was like, damn it, you should have just canceled. What's wrong with you? Now you have to be here. This is what my ego was doing, right? All this resistance. But knowing how the ego works, I said, no, Max, you're just going to go. You're not going to cancel. You're going to go. You're going to go. And so it was all about what it says here, destruction and breaking out and breaking through, all that kind of vibration, right? And as I was teaching and as I shared with my students what was going on, I could see my ego starting to back up. I could feel my ego starting to back up. Because when you don't listen to the ego, or you listen to the ego, but you don't let it drive your car or tell you what to do or how you should do it, and you do the opposite, then you start to begin to, what it says right here, melt in to the quiet peace. Melt into the quiet peace. And as you start to do that, of course, you know what I'm going to say. The class was awesome. It was incredible. And it's because, and then of course, guess what? I didn't miss nothing. Nothing was happening really in that time, that hour and a half I was with that class. I didn't miss anything. Everything I wanted started later. So it all worked out perfectly. But my ego, it always works out perfectly, was trying to destroy, trying to break through, trying to right? And so when you melt in, I love the imagery of melting in. And he says, but merely a quiet melting in. For peace will join you there. Peace will join you there. Simply because you have been willing, this is very important. Peace will join you there simply because you are willing to let go of the limits you have placed on love. Let go of the limits you have placed on love. What does that mean? How do you let go of the limits you have placed on love? How do you do that? Or what does that mean? And first of all, you could say to yourself, I didn't even know I was putting limits on love. Well, that's what we're doing. When we're not in the flow, when we're not in our peace, when we're not in our grace, we are limiting our experience of love. We are limiting, we're putting limits on how much love we can experience, how much love we can allow in any given moment. So here's my question for you. How are you putting limits on the love that is available to you right now? How are you doing that? Think about it for a second, and I'd like to see some comments. How are you limiting love? How are you limiting? You could be limiting it by how you're looking at your finances. You could be limiting it about how you're looking at politics. You could be limiting it by how you are looking at your relationship with a loved one. You could be limiting, how are you limiting, putting limits on love? Carrie says judging. Yep, that's definitely a limit on love. What else? While you're writing that, body image. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Sorry, my phone. Hold on. Boom, boom. Okay. All right. Right. So your body image, judging yourself, the world, and others. I limit by not trusting the process. Very good, Elaine. Come to this place of refuge where you can be yourself in peace, not through destruction, not through breaking out, but merely by a quiet melting in. For peace will join you there, simply because you have been willing to let go the limits you have placed on love and joined it where it is. And when he says where it is, meaning love, where love is and where love led you in answer to its gentle call to be at peace. Take a deep breath.